The following is a paid advertisement for ITV Direct.
Hello, my name is Donald Barrett, and welcome to another edition of ITV. Our guest today is a medical doctor and cancer survivor with a miraculous story of recovery. In 1993, she was diagnosed with life-threatening breast cancer. After refusing to be pressured into chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery, her doctors sent her home to die. She discovered in this country that there are natural healing techniques being suppressed that can prevent and or reverse disease. She's now 67 years old, and she looks better than ever. Dr. Lorraine Day, welcome to our show today.
Thank you very much.
Now, you're a medical doctor, correct?
That's correct. Orthodox medical doctor, have been for 25 years.
What are your credentials?
I graduated from the University of California, San Francisco School of Medicine. I'm an orthopedic trauma surgeon. I was vice chairman and associate professor of the Department of Orthopedic Surgery at the University of California, San Francisco Medical School for 15 years. And I was also chief of orthopedic surgery at San Francisco General Hospital. So I have been in the heart of academic, orthodox, mainstream medicine for virtually all of my career.
Now, how did you find out that you first had cancer?
Well, I had a small lump on my chest, really tiny. And I didn't think anything of it because it was fairly high up on my chest. But it bothered me when I put my seatbelt on, so I thought I'll just have this taken off. And I went to a plastic surgeon friend of mine, had it taken off under local. He didn't think it was anything, neither did I. And when we found out the biopsy report, I already had cancer all through my chest wall.
So not only was it a little spot of cancer, it was all through your
All through my chest wall at the time. They could not get clear borders in the biopsy. And I had a second biopsy too. These were done at well-known cancer centers, and the biopsy report was infiltrating ductal adenocarcinoma of the breast, even though it was fairly high up.
As a medical doctor, why would you refuse chemotherapy or radiation or even surgery? I mean, that's what most doctors recommend.
Right. Well, when we talk about surgery, I did have the biopsy, and later on I had what we call a debulking procedure just for pain relief, but I did not have a mastectomy. I refused a mastectomy. The reason I didn't go with any of those techniques is, first of all, chemotherapy is poison. Radiation is very destructive to the immune system. I have seen thousands of patients die from the treatment we give them. Doctors and dentists will tell you, don't get too many x-rays. X-rays cause cancer. And yet when you have cancer, then we, doctors, tell them, oh, now you have to have huge doses of exactly what we told you to avoid because it causes cancer. And there are many articles in the medical literature about chemotherapy causing secondary cancers later on, even if they survive the first cancer, because chemo is poison.
So what you're saying is chemotherapy and radiation actually cause cancer?
That's correct. And there are numerous articles in the literature, and every doctor knows this.
Somebody out there is watching right now, maybe they have cancer, maybe a loved one has cancer. They're probably saying, why would my doctor recommend chemotherapy or radiation if they cause cancer?
Because they don't know anything else to do. What they're trying to do is decrease the size of the tumor or destroy the tumor, and in many cases they will do that. However, while it's destroying the tumor, it's destroying good cells too, and mostly your immune system. The reason your hair falls out and you vomit your insides out when you have chemotherapy is because it's destroying good cells as well as bad cells. And so it's always a race. Are you going to kill the patient first or destroy the tumor? But you see, you never really cure the cancer, because you've done nothing to reverse the factors that cause cancer. Cancer is not caused by a deficiency of chemotherapy nor a deficiency of radiation.
Let me ask you this. Does chemotherapy or radiation work for some people?
Well, it doesn't ever work for anybody. In other words, they
so there's
never get
nobody out
well.
there that got well through chemotherapy or
they
radiation?
don't ever get well. They may survive, but they don't get well. In other words, they don't reverse their cancer. What they do is, if you have termites in your house, I can get rid of the termites by putting an atomic bomb under your house. and the termites will be gone, but so will your house. And that's what chemotherapy does. It destroys your immune system. You see, the body is made to heal itself. If you have a cut on your hand, that cut will heal unless you do something really strange to try to keep it from healing. If you pick it open every day or if you put dirt in it, it will not heal. But if you just leave it alone, it will heal. The body is meant to heal. And so when we develop cancer, it's because of the way we're eating and living. It doesn't fall out of the sky, and it's not just cancer, it's everything else, every other disease, Parkinson's and Lou Gehrig's disease and lupus and heart disease. We give them to ourselves one day at a time by the way we eat and the way we live. The good news is we can reverse them.
There's doctors out there that still recommend chemotherapy and radiation.
Oh, sure.
You're saying there are natural approaches that can actually help people with cancer.
Well, there are natural approaches that can actually get you well. Chemotherapy and radiation never get you well.
Okay, when you were diagnosed with cancer, you refused chemotherapy or radiation, although you had the biopsy like you explained.
Right.
Tell me what happened then when you went home. How did you discover this plan to get well?
Fortunately, before I developed cancer, I had been speaking out on some other medical issues, and I had done a lot of major media, 60 Minutes and Nightline and CNN Crossfire and all of those, and talking about another medical issue that was not being made clear to the public. And so I started getting a lot of letters from people saying, if you think there's a cover-up in that instance, you ought to see the cover-up in cancer cures. And I thought, oh, come on. I was very high up in academic medicine. I would know. Well, no, not true. Doctors are the last to know because they are totally propagandized with drugs and surgery. That's all we're ever taught in medical school, partly because the pharmaceutical industry controls a lot of what's taught in the medical schools because they contribute the research funding for medical schools. So anyway, I started investigating this before I ever knew I had cancer. And I was actually going around the country talking to people who I had heard had gotten well from cancer and investigating, found out that they had been biopsied by legitimate doctors in legitimate hospitals with cancers that were virtually 100% fatal, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer, and here they were alive and well and had had no orthodox therapy.
Using totally natural methods.
Totally natural methods. And so I actually had my own national radio show, which was called Truth Serum, where I was interviewing a lot of alternative doctors about these kinds of things. During that period of time, I found out I had cancer. I knew I was not going to go the orthodox route. And the first thing I did was I changed my diet completely, but diet alone is not enough to get you well from cancer or other serious diseases.
So at first you were just experimenting with diet alone.
That's correct.
So
That's
you changed your diet completely.
And I got on the right diet, but then I was all right for a while, for 8 or 9 months, and then suddenly my tumor returned because, you see, I hadn't changed anything else in my life. And so my tumor returned and in about 9 months. And then it returned, it was a little larger then, it was about the size of a marble. And then I thought, I'm in serious trouble. And so I started trying one alternative after another, and none of them worked. And I knew I was in serious trouble, and I got sicker and sicker and sicker till eventually I was bedridden. I was bedridden for 6 months. I got to the point where I couldn't eat and then where I couldn't drink. And at one point I was not expected to live through the night. But what I found through this experience, and as you said earlier, I, as a physician, I was an agnostic for most of my adult life. But when you know what every other doctor knows and you know there's no hope for you with orthodox methods, I turned to the Lord and I started praying and I started reading my Bible. And I realized there were totally natural things in their natural form that can get you well.
And you say things came to you from the mail sometimes, through newspapers.
Right. So sometimes somebody would give me a book. Sometimes I would be impressed to study in a certain area. And actually at that time I had triple vision. I was so sick and so toxic. And my husband would have to read. Right, I couldn't read. My husband would have to read to me because I couldn't read. And so I started studying in these various areas, and then suddenly I realized that there was more to the plan than just diet. And when I started including these other 9 steps, the plan has 10 steps, then I started getting well. And from the time I understood that I had the plan together, it only took 8 months for the cancer to reverse itself.
And you had a tumor, and our producers are going to bring up the pictures.
That's right. I had a
but
tumor.
It was the size of a grapefruit.
That's right. It was the size of a large grapefruit. And there's side views and front views and a close-up view. You can see the tumor is huge. Now, I had a portion of that tumor.
9 months later, the tumor went away?
That's right. I had a portion of the tumor removed just so it wouldn't open up and have a big open wound on my chest, and for pain relief, and they sent me home to die. By that time, I still had cancer all through my chest wall, in the nodes under my arm, and at the nodes at the base of my neck. But that gave me some relief from pain, and they thought they'd just make my death easier. But when I got on the plan, which is all very simple, when I got on the plan...
It's a 10-step program.
10 steps, and it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple because all the things are out there in nature, but it's not easy because you have to change your life.
All 10 steps are absolutely free, too.
Everything except food, and you have to buy that anyway.
You have to buy that anyway.
All free.
But here's the question, because I think everybody out there has heard of somebody that has probably healed themselves of cancer naturally.
Right.
Maybe they've heard it on the news or they've read it on the internet. But what about the people that say everybody's different? Everybody's different. Not one health plan is going to work for everybody.
Well, actually, everybody is exactly the same on the inside. Okay? We couldn't have textbooks if we weren't all the same on the inside. If you came to me and you said, I have pain in my shoulder, and I said, well, maybe it's your appendix. And you say, no, my appendix is down here. And I'd say, no, we don't know. Everybody's different. We don't know where your appendix is. Of course we know. Our personalities are different. And the outside of our bodies may look different, and our faces are different. But inside, we're all the same. Your stomach works exactly like my stomach, and your intestines work like my intestines. That's why we can have books as doctors. We can have textbooks of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, neurophysiology, because everybody is the same. Everybody's exactly the same on the inside.
Why does everybody think that everybody's different? I think what your example absolutely makes sense.
That's right. Everybody likes to be different. They say, you know, I'm special. Well, we are all special. We are all special because we are different with personalities. But if you went to a doctor and a doctor had to start from scratch with everything, why go to medical school? You just say it's a crapshoot every time somebody comes in. I don't have a clue as where anything is.
Right. Hold on to that thought. And I want to talk about genetics in a minute. But if you're watching right now and you'd like some more information on Dr. Day or her 10-step program that she used to get well, pick up the phone, get some more information. We have trained representatives standing by that can answer all of your questions. And for a limited time, we're making available her video, Cancer Doesn't Scare Me Anymore. It's a 2-hour video that you've put together for people out there that are confused, maybe getting advice from their friends, relatives, and being pressured into chemotherapy and radiation. It gives them really a guideline to go by for them to be an educated patient. So
that's right. They will find out what orthodox medicine will offer them and what it will do to them.
So we're making this video available today for $29.95. $29.95. Pick up the phone, get some more information. And the wonderful thing about it is all 10 steps that she mentions are absolutely free except for food. So if you want some more information or if you'd like to pick up the video, give us a call. Dr. Day, let's talk about genetics, because the medical industry, doctors say, well, if you have cancer on your mom's side or cancer on your father's side, that you're more apt to get cancer, that I'm more likely to get cancer. For instance, my dad has liver cancer, and I had a brother that died of brain cancer. So they say, you should be on the lookout for cancer.
Well, first of all, medicine doesn't prevent cancer. They just tell you, well, go see a doctor so he can diagnose it. They don't prevent it. They just tell you when you have it. Okay, that's number one. But as far as genetics are concerned, virtually no cancer, maybe a few, but tiny, tiny portions of cancer actually transmitted through the genes.
Even on heart disease. If your mother has heart disease, you're more apt to get heart disease. Diabetes.
Well, if your mother has cancer or heart disease, you are more likely to get cancer or heart disease, but not because it's in the genes. You see, grandmother teaches mother how to eat, live, and handle stress. And mother teaches daughter how to eat, live, and handle stress, well or not well. And so it's passed down in families all right, but not in the genes. It's done by how we live and eat, you see. And if a mother is very stressed and handles her problems without really knowing how to relieve her stress, and she eats wrong, well, that's the only way the daughter learns how. You can change that if you just change the way you're eating and living. We know that from all medical centers now. Major medical centers have cardiovascular sections where they say you've got to get on a different diet. You've got to start exercising. And they know they can reverse and prevent heart disease by those things. Well, cancer is the same thing. They know that if your father and your grandfather died of heart disease, well, you have a bigger chance, but not because it's genetic. Another illustration is, if you look at the Japanese women who are in their 60s or 70s, they have a very low incidence of breast cancer in Japan because they have been eating mainly rice and vegetables and a little bit of fish. You bring those same women to America, and they've done studies on this, to America, give them the rich Western diet, put them under the same stresses, they have the same incidence of breast cancer as American women. It's not in the genes. We do it to ourselves one day at a time by the way we eat and the way we live. The good news is, since we do it to ourselves, we can reverse it.
Most doctors say they don't know what causes cancer.
Right.
Everybody says, we don't know what causes
Right.
cancer. What is the cause of cancer? Do you have any idea?
Sure. Oh, of course. The causes of cancer are all known, and they're all in the medical literature. 15 years ago, I used to say the same thing. We don't know what causes cancer. In fact, doctors don't know what causes practically every disease. And yet, the answers are all out there. Even the American Cancer Society, in their Journal for Clinicians, I think it's in 1999, they say that if people will go on a vegetarian diet and exercise on a regular basis and decrease their alcohol intake, they will decrease the incidence of cancer by 33%, all kinds of cancer. The Harvard School of Public Health says the same three things will reduce it by 66%. There are numerous articles.
So there's there's actually research to back up what you're saying, or there's research to back up your 10 steps.
Absolutely, on every single step, such as sunlight reduces the size of internal cancerous tumors.
I thought sun causes cancer.
Well,
everybody
actually,
says stay out of the sun because it causes cancer.
That's right. They did a study at Baylor University where they took two groups of experimental animals. They gave one the standard American diet, which is terrible. They gave the other one a highly nutritious diet. Then they exposed both groups of animals to the ultraviolet rays of the sun. In the group on the standard American diet, 25% got skin cancer. In the group on the highly nutritious diet, not one animal got skin cancer. It's the way we're eating. Skin cancer is a relatively new phenomenon in the last 60 years or so, and yet our ancestors for hundreds of years have been living outdoors, working outdoors, and they didn't get skin cancer. It's a new phenomenon. It's because we have changed from a plant-based diet, mainly eating from fruits, grains, and vegetables as we did in the early 1900s, to now people are just gorging on animal products, and we have all sorts of disease, including cancer.
Right. Now, I know you don't recommend vitamins, so to speak. You
No.
recommend whole food nutrients.
That's right.
Will whole food nutrients help someone fill in the holes of a diet?
Well, see, it's not so much that they fill in the holes. What we're eating is actually destroying us. It's actually causing cancer and other diseases. MSG, NutraSweet, all these things are toxins. They have terrible, terrible side effects. And so when we eat things that with processed food, they all have NutraSweet and MSG and these kinds of things in them. And so we've got to start eating natural food. It's not so much that you're filling in the holes of the vitamins and minerals. The food that you're eating has all the nutrition in it that you need. You cannot develop cancer unless your immune system is suppressed.
But everybody says the soil is depleted and the minerals aren't in our food.
Well, the soil is depleted. But remember, I didn't get well from cancer 100 years ago. I got well in the last 11 years, all right? The soil is just as depleted now as, when I was getting well as it is now. I got well. I started eating food that was grown organically, which means it was grown in soil that has more nutrition in it, and it didn't have pesticides sprayed on it. But you have to do the best that you can. Some people live in an area where that's not available, so then you just do the best that you can. But I drank a lot of juices because, you see, the three factors that actually cause cancer and all other diseases are malnutrition. Now, everybody's eating plenty of calories. They're just not eating enough nutrition.
Right.
Okay?
Everybody's eating plenty.
Right. Malnutrition, dehydration, and stress. The body is 75% water. The brain is 85% water. Every day, you lose 10 glasses of water just by living. You lose it from perspiration even when it's not hot. You lose it from breathing because your breath is moist. You'll fog up a mirror. And you lose it because your body has to take huge amounts of water out of your cells and put it in your stomach to make digestive juices for every meal. You lose that through your kidneys and colon every day. So if you don't drink 10 glasses of water every day, you are getting behind.
How many people out there would drink 9 glasses of water a day? And the American Cancer Society is saying you have to eat 8 fruits or vegetables every day.
Well,
how many people eat 1 fruit or vegetable
that's
every
right.
day?
But see, I changed that. I started eating fruits, vegetables, and grains, and drinking lots of water and fresh homemade vegetable juice, carrot juice, and green leafy vegetable juice, because you've got to nourish the body. The body is sick when it develops any disease. It is sick, and you've got to feed it properly. The only place the body has to get the raw materials to make new cells is by what you put in your mouth. It doesn't just kind of come out of the sky. You have to feed it properly.
So nutrition plays a role.
Oh, a major role, but it's only 10% of the plan. There are other things in the plan, such as fresh air. As I said, cancerous tumors grow twice as fast if you're breathing indoor air as if you're breathing outdoor air.
Just to hold on to that thought, I just want to let our viewers tune in again for a minute. If you're watching right now and you'd like some more information on Dr. Day or her 10-step lifestyle program to get well, pick up the phone and call the number on the screen. She has trained representatives standing by that can answer all of your questions. And for a limited time, only while supplies last, we have her videos. Cancer Doesn't Scare Me Anymore. For $29.95, you can get this video. If you put it in the hands of somebody that has cancer, you could be saving their life. So if you'd like some more information or like to pick up the videos, pick up the phone, give us a call. Now, we talked about cancer an awful lot this show. Does your 10-step program work for any other diseases?
Virtually all diseases, because all diseases are caused by the same 3 factors: malnutrition, dehydration, and stress. And that is a short version of violation of those 10 laws of health. Those 10 laws of health.
How can such simple techniques, I mean, the average person out there is saying, how can such simple techniques work on such devastating diseases like cancer or heart disease, even diabetes?
Well, let me give you an illustration. When you have a headache, the average American will take an aspirin. Why? Well, headaches certainly are not caused by a deficiency of aspirin.
But it sure goes away fast.
That's right. We want a quick fix. All right? But you see, headaches are caused by too much tension, too much stress, not drinking enough water, too much sugar, caffeine withdrawal, whatever. Lots of reasons, but not one single headache is caused by a deficiency of aspirin. We take an aspirin because we want a quick fix, because we've been programmed to do that, and because we don't really think about what's causing the headache. So we just cover up the symptoms, and then what we do is the problem continues to get worse. When we have joint pains, it's supposed to be a red flag to tell us something is wrong in your body. You better change something. You better start eating differently. You better cut out the sugar. You better start getting more rest. We don't do that. We just take caffeine to rev us up. We take sugar to give us more energy. We don't go to sleep when we're tired. You see? And so what we're doing is we're covering up symptoms over and over and over again. So then, one day we go to the doctor, and the doctor says you have cancer, or Parkinson's, or heart disease, or lupus, and you say, well, doctor, how did this happen? And the doctor says, we don't know, these things just happen. But they don't. We give these diseases to ourselves one day at a time by the way we eat and the way we live.
But how come doctors only recommend drugs?
All they know. That's all I ever knew, because all we're taught in Orthodox medicine is to give drugs, which never cure a disease. They only cover up the symptoms. Any doctor will admit, you see, if you're put on high blood pressure drugs, they'll tell you you have to be on them for the rest of your life. Why? Because they don't cure anything. All right, they cover up the symptoms. You still have high blood pressure. It's just that this drug is artificially keeping it low, all right? But it's not curing the problem. You can cure the problems. So drugs just cover up the symptoms, and surgery just takes out the organ. If you went to a car mechanic and you say, I have trouble with my engine, and the warning light is flashing on my dashboard, and the mechanic went and got his pliers and cut the lines to the warning light, he says, now it's not going to bother you anymore. You don't see the warning light. Well, you still have the trouble in your engine.
You say the cancer industry is controlled.
That's correct. It is.
Explain. I mean, what do you mean controlled?
Well, to give an example, in medical journal articles that doctors read, there are more pages in the medical journal of 4-color high-price pharmaceutical ads than there is medical information. So when you start talking about natural medicine, you try to get that into a journal, the pharmaceutical companies say, we're going to pull our ads. And when we pull our ads, you don't have any journal.
Well, your 10-step program, there's no return on investment.
That's correct. If you know, who's going to research the importance of water? Because water's free, you see. But actually, those studies have been done. And they were done in the 30s, 40s, and early 50s. And I have all those medical journal articles showing that, well, even new studies show forgiveness changes your cell structure. If you are harboring anger and you have grudges that you're holding against people, you cannot get well. You have to learn to forgive everyone who's ever wronged you. Because you see, when you are angry, in fact, if you are angry, you are more prone to die of a heart attack if you have one than if you are not angry. When you are angry or when you are stressed, the body pours out huge amounts of adrenaline from the adrenal glands and cortisol. Cortisol is like cortisone. It suppresses your immune system, and the adrenaline gives you a rapid heart rate, and it can give you an irregular heart rate, and it all hypes you up. And so when you are under a lot of stress, or when you're angry, the body pours out the hormones, actually, that suppress your immune system, and so you cannot fight disease.
Do doctors disagree with you?
When I give you these specific things, they don't disagree with that. But they just don't believe you can get well from cancer by natural methods. And you know why? Because they, like I, have been taught year after year after year after year that the only way to do it is with chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery.
Why do you say the average person out there shouldn't be scared of cancer anymore? That's the name of your video, Cancer Doesn't Scare Me Anymore.
Right. Because cancer is just a disease of deficiency and excess. Now, if you had scurvy, which is a vitamin C deficiency, nobody would be too upset. They'd just eat some oranges or some lemons and they would be over it. And so I say cancer is the same thing. It's just a disease of deficiency. You're not eating the right things. You're not getting enough rest at the proper time of night because the healing hormones are produced between 10 p.m. and 2 o'clock in the morning. If you're staying up all night because you're a night person, you're going to be sick eventually. And so you've got to adhere to these laws, and you can get well. All you have to do is not violate those laws. And doctors will agree that nutrition does have something to do with your health, but they say, but once you have cancer, you can eat anything you want and it won't make any difference. But if doctors agree that your diet will contribute, the wrong diet will contribute to cancer, then why would you keep doing it and expect you could get well?
Right. Dr. Day, I'm sorry we're running out of time, but we'll have you back. Thanks for being on our show today. If you're watching right now and you want some more information on Dr. Day or a 10-step lifestyle program, pick up the phone and get some more information. Maybe you have a loved one. You know, I always say that if you don't have cancer, you know somebody that does. We can drop ship this product for you for only $29.95. We have the video, Cancer Doesn't Scare Me Anymore. Let that cancer patient in your life be an educated patient. For $29.95, you could be saving their life. And the wonderful thing is, after you get these videos, all 10 steps are absolutely free, except for food, which you need anyways. My name is Donald Barrett, and this has been a very exciting show on ITV. Dr. Day, again, thanks for being my guest, and we'll see you next time on ITV. Thanks for being with us.
If you have a product that you think is ready for prime time and can use the power of a TV infomercial, call one of ITV Direct's representatives at 800-559-4236 and find out what infomercial marketing can do for you.
The preceding program was a paid advertisement for ITV Direct.